You know, what's crazy is that when you're a kid, you sort of remember things much differently than when you're an adult. And looking back on things or experiences that happened to you when you were younger, you start to wonder, wait a second, what really happened? What was that all about when I was a kid, Because you don't really think about it when you're young. Now, one such story that I recall from when I was younger that I started thinking about, and it kind of bothered me because it all kind of came to me that this was really strange that this happened. Uh, when I was younger, I think I was about 12, 13 at the time. We used to go to this Christian Boy Scout camp, essentially. And we would go there with thousands of other campers from all over the state and would have this kind of big, huge get together on this huge campsite that was designated for this event. Okay. And one of the stories that everybody had was that there was these apes that lived out in the woods, or gorillas as they would call them, and that they tended to run around the woods and try and scare people. And as kids, we all joked about it and said, we would hear noises and we would hear sounds in the woods at night. And we would say, oh, that's the apes. And the story went that these apes had got there because apparently a train had derailed and it was a circus train. And some apes had escaped from the circus and sort of populated themselves in the woods around this place. And what's interesting is that almost everyone talked about it and knew of this legend. And as a kid, I didn't really think much of it, You don't really think, you think it's just sort of a silly story that they try and scare the campers with. But one night we had an experience, and thinking back on that, that really changed my mind as to what these apes actually were. So we went to this camp thing one year, and my friend had gotten a video camera. And we were like, hey, we should take this video camera out into the woods, because there was a spot that you would hike this trail and it would lead you to this place out in the middle of the woods where there was a bunch of benches and like a pavilion where they would perform plays at night, and we would go there and meet and gather, and they called it Powwow Hill. And we decided we should take the camera to Powwow Hill and just kind of video record ourselves walking around at night, So we thought this was a cool idea. So late that night, we snuck out and we hiked this trail, and we went all the way to Powwow Hill. And the whole time we're recording, with our friend's video camera. And so we get to Powwow Hill, and we decide to sit down on the benches, and we're telling jokes and kind of playing around, when one of my friends says, hey, look, what is that? And we all look over, and through the woods, we could see two sets of eyes, and they were like glowing yellow. And whatever these eyes were, they were up high, almost 7, 8, 9 feet, up to the top tree branch in the trees, and looking through over this tree branch. So whatever this was, we knew that this thing was big. And all of a sudden, we looked over, and next to it, we seen another set of eyes. And then to the left of that, another set of eyes. And that's when we discovered we were surrounded by these eyes watching us. There was something in the woods around us watching us. And we started to get freaked out and talk amongst one another. And we said, maybe we should get out of here, because I don't think this is a good situation. So we exited to the trail, and we started moving really fast. And as we were going down the trail, we could hear shuffling and moving through the woods and branches breaking, like these, whatever this was, these things in the woods were following us. And we could hear weird sounds that sounded almost like a laugh, or like a growl, almost kind of weird growl laugh. I don't know how you explain it. And we made it back to our campsite. went to bed that night. And the next morning, we was kind of wondering, like, did that really happen? Did we really see something in the woods that night? And so we said, hey, we videotaped this. So we pulled up the camera and we replay this video. And that's when we notice that our whole hike to Powwow Hill, we were being followed. And we could see things moving through the woods, shapes moving through the woods, and we could see stuff that we weren't alone hiking to Powwow Hill. And we could see the eyes on camera when we got to Powwow Hill. And we could see that whatever it was behind us following us all the way home. So we decided after we seen that video, like, let's go back there during the daytime and see, like, if we see any footprints or anything weird. So we start hiking the trail back to Powwow Hill, but we noticed along the trail was this huge, it must have been 400 or 500 pound log moved across the trail. And this wasn't like a tree had fell over, and this wasn't there before. It was like something threw this 500 pound log in front of the trail to try and block the way, or like it was saying, like, don't come this way again kind of thing. And we thought, like, what is this, And it's funny, just as kids, we didn't really think about it much. But as I got older and I started to think about it more, I was really thinking, like, was this perhaps Bigfoot? Were we encountering what we didn't know at the time was some sort of Bigfoot-like creature? That there was maybe several of them that existed in these woods, and these were the infamous circus apes that people said lived in the woods, and that we had created the story because people were saying Bigfoot and calling them apes and thinking they were circus apes. And what we encountered that night was that essentially a Bigfoot-like creature that we didn't think about that at the time. It's definitely something interesting to think about,